Hey, everybody. We are back. This is our third episode of Friday Conversations. And joining me today is my dear friend, Tiffany Rae. We met, oh my goodness, 13 years ago, I think, somewhere in that general time frame.
Yeah.
And we met, of course, we're military spouses, and we met when we were in Texas. Now, before that, we both had lives. I was a floral designer in Charleston, South Carolina, and Tiffany made her name in many different areas, but the one that really comes to mind and what we're going to talk about probably the most today is the fitness industry. So Tiffany, it has been quite a journey these past few years. We have shared ups, downs, all arounds. And I'm going to let you kind of walk us through this fitness industry that you came into, how it's really shaped you. And we're going to get into then how that helps you with family life. And, so it's not just this tiny bit of you that you started long time ago, but it's actually a lifestyle. It's a habit, and it's a great habit. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Okay, well, I grew up doing gymnastics and dance. I was always active. I'm not a sit-still person or personality. When I started teaching, I found I was sitting a lot. I was an English teacher, high school English teacher, grading papers. And so I missed that, thousands of hours a week of gymnastics practice a day. So at the time, ESPN was showing a lot of fitness videos. And so I decided, hey, I think I want to try this out. And so I got involved with doing fitness competitions in Idaho. And from there, I was trying to get sponsors because it's kind of an expensive thing. This was in the 2000s. And bodybuilding.com was looking, they were right there in Boise, Idaho. So they were able to sponsor me. And in exchange, I was supposed to write articles about my experience. So I started competing in 2000. So it's been 20 years in the industry. And then, my first national show was, 2001 ESPN. I was in the top 10. And then I competed off and on, but it was not I kept saying it's not my career, ironically. It was a hobby. I'd always tell everybody it's a hobby because my career has always been teaching. Like I started coaching at 14 years old. And I always felt like that was my calling. That I was always supposed to teach in some facet of life. So I've taught gymnastics, I've taught dance, I've coached tennis, I've coached fitness competitors. So for me personally, the fitness life was more of a hobby, I would say. It was what was fun. I didn't ever take it super, super seriously. There were definitely times you put in that much training and sacrifice for eating and commitment that, of course, if you didn't do well, you'd be disappointed and you'd cry. But it wasn't the only thing that identified myself. Like I saw myself as a teacher. When I had my website, I identified myself as an educator first, fitness competitor. I didn't become a pro in the IFBB world. I stuck to more natural shows and that sort of life. But, I did it in between a marriage, divorce, and then, of course, kids. After both my sons, I competed. I did not compete after my daughter. Since my daughter was born 4 years ago, I stepped away from competing and kind of focused more on just my family. So,
well, I love what you said there is that even though you love this industry and, you felt led to be there and take time away from other aspects of your life, you never took it so seriously that it really got you down and bummed you out. It was always something that uplifted you, that, kind of gave you probably some energy. Like you said, you were sitting still and teaching, but that was, that's what you felt maybe the most comfortable with. And when you did fitness, do you feel like that is really what gave you energy and pushed you to different heights? Do you think maybe that was why it was so special?
Well, I've always enjoyed competing, but it was more that striving for a challenge or a goal. So I set a goal, whether it was not just like I think the thing that sometimes people get confused about, a lot of people I met in the fitness industry, I had this stereotype as well, like, oh, they're all personal trainers and they all have time to work out. And when I was competing, that wasn't the case. There was doctors, there was attorneys, there were moms with 4 kids, and it was the type of people who just set these personal goals and wanted to achieve them. Yes, it's about appearance, but it's more about balance and finding that, lifestyle. Like, I'm going to eat healthy because I feel good, and doing this makes me feel good. And I think that's why I kept competing for so long, is it became a way of life. And I see it more as fun. Like, I think today we get wrapped up in, like I said, competing, but I loved gymnastics. I was passionate about it. It's what I loved. And so fitness was close to that. And I think we have to remember what makes us happy, playing, like that being a kid, that concept of play is important. And what drives you, what makes you happy, you've got to fulfill that, need.
So lead us through while you're competing. Y'all, I have to say, I actually stalked Tiffany a little bit the very first time I met her. I'm not kidding. These photos that you had posted at the time were incredible. I would look at her and go, oh my goodness, she is toned, she's fit, she has this presence about her. So before I even really got to know her, I just felt like, wow, she totally has it together.
Nobody does.
No, but if you feel that good in what you're doing, I feel like that's kind of what you get. So I hope, if nothing else, if you take nothing else away from today, I hope it's that if you are doing something exciting and that you find fulfilling, is that you're going to feel confident in your own skin. But I want to hear I want to hear how you structured getting ready for these competitions. How did your life change in competition life versus just not competition?
Well, all things in moderation. When I prepared for a show, I had to cut back on social functions because the temptation of foods were too great, for instance. But I wouldn't punish myself if I cheated, per se. And, I talked to my friends in the fitness world. They know I was not the best at my strict diet. But if I craved chocolate, I would not punish myself because I would still be craving chocolate 3 days later. So I would suck on one M&M because that would fulfill the craving. I would tell, other people that I coach, if you're craving something super sweet, suck on a frozen peach, because sometimes your brain and your body just needs that sweetness. But I did not, when I had my kids, I did not work out 5 days a week or 7 days a week. I would train. I would go to the gym Monday, Wednesdays, Fridays. And I would do an hour and a half on those days. And then that was kind of it. When I was doing my fitness, when I was just doing figure bikini, because I was injured, so I wasn't able to do as fitness those last 2 years. So people were surprised. They're like, what? You only work out 3 days a week? But I'd done it so long that my body, my muscles had a muscle memory, and I knew what it took to get where I needed to be. And like I said, I didn't go as large muscular as an IFBB pro would have, and so forth.
So if you were, hypothetically, we're talking to maybe a mom who is just trying to get back motivated, what are some great tips you might give her on foods to eat, foods to ignore, and, just going outside to play? What might be some of those tips you would give?
Definitely. I'm still finding I need motivation. I'm in my late 40s here. We got to get, like, my metabolism is slowed. So I got to get out and play with my kids more. And that's the important thing. There's bazillion nutritional facts out there and diet fads. I tell people, you have to find what works for you. Like, I didn't just go out to my first competition and figure out, oh, this is what it was a process. It was a good 5 to 6 years before I discovered what works best for my body. And I had to try new things or take away things. And I'm not a big supplement person. I'm not into supplements. I'm into whole foods, natural foods. I love everything though. I love all foods. There's nothing I see that's completely evil. I will put, things are like, people say, oh, don't ever eat this, stay away from this. I might have it once in 6 months, or I like, my occasional David's Burgers. I took my son to his, he wanted for his birthday David's Burgers, and I gorged on everything and just enjoyed it. Like, I think you have to have a balance, but if you're looking to lose weight, it's making sure that you're moving. I think cleaning your house and burning those calories, and but playing with your kids, getting out and playing with your kids is important. Playing tennis with them, riding a bikes with them, get on a scooter with them, or chase your 3 or 4-year-old down the street on her scooter. Whatever's, and if you don't have kids, your pets, if you have pets, whatever's good for your pet. If your pet is running on the beach, then you need to run on the beach. But don't see it as, I have to do this. Make it, find what is fun for you and do that. If rollerblading, in the evening is enjoyable, then you're going to burn calories and you're going to have fun and you're going to be fit and not feel like you're working. But don't go out at, make yourself get up at 5 a.m. because you have to lift so many weights before your kids go out to school, and you're dreading it and you're miserable every day. So there is times when you have to get up and force yourself to do some fit activities. And, everyone says, oh, listen to your body. Well, yes, listen to when you've worked too hard. Listen to your body when it does crave something. It doesn't mean go out and eat a bag of M&Ms, but if you are craving something, have one M&M. It's finding that middle ground, moderation in all things.
Moderation and balance. But one of my favorite things, I was lucky enough to actually, just in the past few months, Tiffany and I were in the same spot at the same time, and our kids were swimming. So during those morning practices, Tiff and I would go just walk. And I think that in itself, if you can do nothing else, if nothing else feels comfortable, or you are recovering from some illness or, stress to your body, going out and walking and then just talking. We talked the entire time. In fact, the people around us were probably like, my gosh, they're still talking. It was, it was fantastic. Okay. So I get this question a lot, and, I actually deal with it with our children. What are some snacks that you like to pack that it doesn't matter who you are. I feel like there's always some go-to, like the goldfish. Everybody packs the goldfish. They're easy. They don't make a mess. But what are maybe some other items that you put in the kids' bags for a protein pop or, sugar to get them going?
I have 3 different kids with 3 different appetites and 3 different tastes. So what works for one child doesn't necessarily work for the other one. But, sometimes it's a matter of, we're short of time, grab what's in the pantry, let's go. But for instance, we had a tennis match Sunday. I had some granola bars. I cut up some cauliflower. It's what I had in the fridge. And some mini sweet peppers. To have during this tennis match that was outside, and then string cheese. I like kind of a balance, so if you can get some fruits and vegetables, I prefer to take those. They don't always travel well, which is why one of my favorite things is fruit leather. You can get the fruit leather. It's in a package strip. It's just pureed, dried fruit, and there's no added sugars, and it still gives them the same nutritional quality. That's a great one to pack if you have to keep something in your purse long term. Like, oh, you need that emergency snack. It never fails that you're somewhere and your kids are like, I'm super hungry. What do you have to eat? I like to carry those because it's it's skinny. It doesn't weigh a lot. It's fruit, and it it's, it stays in your purse for a while.
And I love that tip, because how many times have I been out and the kids are like, I'm starving. And I'm like, well, shoot, my only option is to run through Mickey D's or, something like that. And I know it can happen. But I love the idea, especially during the winter, since we're in the South right now and the car gets so hot. I try and keep a snack bag. Of course, not with fruits and vegetables, but like granola bars. And if you're looking for granola bars, do you have a favorite? Because I know you can go get the Sun-Kissed or the Little Debbie, and they're like super high on the sugar spectrum and maybe not so many great things in there. So do you have a favorite?
Yeah. Granola bars aren't the most nutritional, actually. They're loaded with a lot of sugars, but if it's a snack and your kids need, and the kids are hot and you're outside, they're gonna kind of sometimes need that sugar. I prefer it to have sugar and not high fructose corn syrup. Things that I steer clear of, and actually I cannot have, is sucrose, otherwise known as Splenda, or any artificial sweeteners. If it says reduced calories on it, I always check the box or label. I steer clear of that stuff. It's not good. But one of my son's favorites right now is the Kashi dark chocolate mocha bar.
I love those.
Please buy these again. And so he's devoured within 3 days time all 6 of them, and that's just one child. So he's finding is a yummy snack, and it's made from mocha. It's dark chocolate, but he's also the kid who'll eat more fruits and vegetables. I have oranges, bananas, and pears, but bananas, like, again, sometimes they're hard to travel. So if you can freeze your fruit and then puree it in a to-go smoothie cup, that's also a good way to, if you're on the go, to get those fruits and vegetables in. And your fruit's starting to go bad, I don't throw my fruit away. It's starting to look sad. I throw it in the freezer, and then I put it in a smoothie, and the kids love it. A frozen banana is the best smoothie texture, I think.
Oh, that's another great. I know we notoriously leave that one cutie in the back of the refrigerator too long, and the kids are like, it's not the same texture, and I'll toss it in a smoothie as well. And no, it's not rotten. It's just, not quite the same texture that they're used to.
Yeah, it's dried. If it's dried up, you can also squeeze that orange or lemon. If it looks dry on the outside, you can squeeze it on your fish if you cook fish, or even the skin will still help moisten if you're cooking it with fish. Like, I love to cook my sad lemons or limes with fish.
I squeeze those in cocktails, girl.
Oh, there we go.
Sorry, that's after the fish. Let's see. So we've talked about good, healthy, and I know every child's different. That's the thing. Like, if you have a child that's picky, then some of these things might not pertain to you. But I always tell our kids that if you don't like it this time, you need to try it again, because your tastes change. And by eating something healthy right now and getting good boosts of energy means you're going to perform at your absolute best. Let's see. So we've talked about food. What I think I'd really like to hear a little bit more about how you trained. Like, was there, when you went to the gym to train, I know you actually gave me some of the best advice. I told you I felt like I was beginning to hunch over and roll my shoulders, and you told me I needed to be working my back a little bit more. So did you focus different days on different parts of your body? I'd love to hear about that.
Yeah, sometimes I would. It would depend if I had somebody to train with, which was great. I always loved working out with somebody else because I'm a social person. And I felt, for me, some people are like, oh, if I train with somebody else, I get too busy talking and I don't get my stuff accomplished. Where I'm a little bit opposite. If I have somebody else there, we kind of motivate each other. Oh, come on, you can do one more rep, or come on, you can do this more, or I'm not tired yet, or you. And so you kind of play off each other's energy that way. It would depend on what the competition was for, like what I was gearing towards I'd also get feedback if my shoulders were looking small, then I'd focus a bit more on arms. Some days I would train back and bis and legs one day. But as a gymnast, it's an all body sport. You didn't get a day off. You didn't rest your muscles. Like, you were sore, you did your whole body again the next day. You know, your warm up conditioning was 25 pull-ups, 25 pullovers, 25 leg raises, 25 squat jumps, just to warm up before you did a 5-hour practice. Mm-hmm. So just, if I even thought about doing some of the warm-ups I did as a gymnast at the gym, and then a little bit of cardio, sometimes a HIIT workout. Some days if my body was just like, I was just hurting all over, maybe I felt a cold coming on, I'd either skip the gym or just do something really light. Like, I'm doing 20 minutes of light cardio and some yoga. I always stretched. Stretching was hugely essential. Maybe
that was going to be my next question. How do you feel?
Back to gymnastics and dance, but I always stretch. Even now, I have to stretch. If I don't, I feel kind of like the Tin Man. I don't move. And that's the other thing. Like, I've got a back injury. So now if I sit too many days and don't work out, I'm in a lot of pain. But if I work out too hard, I'm in pain. So I have to make sure I work out and that I do something, that I stay active, but that I'm always stretching. Like, stretching has been key, whether it's a yoga, all of yoga, or just basic stretching, you know.
And I know right after this particular move, I looked at Christopher and I was like, oh my gosh, I feel ancient. My body hurt from head to toe. Actually, the movers did not show up to move our stuff in. So Christopher and I were left hauling box after box after box. This 2-story house. We're shoving furniture up the stairs and running literally all day long. I want to say Christopher looked at his step count and it was something over 20,000.
Yeah. Those are days when you shouldn't worry about working out, and you can take like 3 days off.
We didn't. We couldn't move. But did you stretch? I was not prepared to stretch first thing that morning, but you better believe when I stopped that night, Christopher and I were both in the floor, stretching out hamstrings, stretching tight backs. That, I think a lot of people forget that you should stretch maybe even before you go to bed. It kind of like a nice glass of wine and a good stretch will make you sleep a whole lot better.
Well, and I sometimes I like something hot in my belly before I go to bed. So I'll have like a hot tea, like a raspberry tea or a chamomile tea to calm my nerves. And then for some reason, just something warm in your belly, even if you're not lactose intolerant. Sometimes I'll have my kids do, you can't sleep, have a half a cup of warm milk and some cinnamon. And cinnamon is a, anti-inflammatory, helps you with your bowel movements. Your son can't have dairy. So, it's what your body is allowed. Like I said, you have to find out what works for you. Like many families deal with allergies and different things like that. But yeah, stretching is good. And
the allergies, that might be something else that troubles other families. Right now we're no dairy, no soy, and tree nut free. That has been a challenge, and finding out what now Junior can take as a snack, that's even harder, because now he's in a classroom that also has a child that's peanut free. So you can't even do peanut butter, and he can't do nut butter. So it's been a challenge trying to find protein, packed things that are not just loaded with carbs. Mm-hmm. And so that's a challenge. I'm going to throw out a app right now. It's called SpoonGuru. And, maybe you're paleo, maybe you're trying a different lifestyle technique right now. But SpoonGuru lets you put in the things that you are trying to restrict from your diet. And then there's a barcode scanner. The GI specialist just told me about this. He said you scan the barcode and it tells you then whether or not you can eat this particular food. And we've just started using it. It has been very, very helpful.
Brilliant.
Whoever
started that.
Right. And in fact, I found a new popsicle that was out. And since he can't have ice cream and he can't have pea protein, which is also something in protein shakes, because when you substitute whey protein, you need another protein. Well, they automatically go to pea protein. He can't have pea protein. He's highly allergic to legumes. So I actually scanned this box of popsicles. It was oat milk popsicles. Wow. And it was so new to the market, a little note popped up. It was like, our nutritionalist will get right on this. We don't know what this is. It's like,
wow.
Perfect. I know.
So is he allowed only rice milk and oat milk? Is that pretty much his milk?
He can actually have coconut milk, and
that's right.
It's the GI specialist told us that with this particular condition, it's like Jenga. If you pull something that's working in the diet out, you might collapse the whole GI tract. So since we were on that and not showing any signs with that, we could leave that in, which is why we can have coconut milk. But he seems to do better.
My favorite: coconut milk, banana, and a little bit of vanilla. The frozen banana, it's such a nice treat.
Oh, that's it. So do you make that like smoothie wise?
Yeah. Yep. So you make it with your frozen banana and your coconut milk and a little dash of real vanilla. And it's such a delicious treat. It's like having a shake.
Oh, that sounds
So don't pour coconut milk because then it will be runnier. But yeah.
Okay. Well, I've learned so many things with this particular
SpoonGuru is the app.
SpoonGuru, and I'll put that in the links below. I think that's I'm sure it's been around for a while, but I hadn't been made known to it. So I'm excited to continue using that. Oh my goodness. Tiffany and I could literally talk all day long.
We could. We could.
And we'll probably get off and continue our conversation.
There was, I was going to say too, back to the play, if you want to add this to your link, there is a documentary called In Search of Greatness by Polsky. And there's another documentary too that's out, but on the fact that, our kids don't play enough. We put them in structured sports. We want them to compete. And I can be guilty of this too. And I noticed in COVID, when everything was shut down and I wasn't running kids to swim practice or tennis practice or soccer practice, that they just had time for free play. And in this documentary, they discuss why Wayne Gretzky was great, and how creative play, kids need free play and creative play to actually get strategies to help them to be better athletes overall and better in life, because they're coming up with problem solving skills, they're playing on the neighborhood, social skills, they work out differences. If there's, they create their own games. During COVID, my sons were creating some game. They just made up a game and they go out and play it every day with a ball. And it was, well, this is fun. What are you guys doing? And, he was riding a scooter for 6 hours just in a circle on the driveway. It was, and they just learned to have fun, and there wasn't this constant. And I was like, of course it was okay for a while, and then we started to go, we need to get out of our house. But that busy mom who has to run around from lesson to lesson to lesson, again, it was a good reminder to me, and hopefully when you watch this in film In Search of Greatness, reminding us that our kids first and foremost need to remember to play and have fun. We as adults need to play and have fun, and that it doesn't have to everything doesn't have to be so serious. That yes, we can compete, but it should be fun. Like, it shouldn't be this major anxiety, this major, if I fail, it's the end of the world, that we learn to just, enjoy it as a part of life.
And I love that from the very beginning of this, that's exactly what you said. I did it because it was fun. It made me feel like I was pushing myself, pushing some limits, accepting challenges. And I feel like that's exactly the swim team that our kids were on together, though ours weren't there for very long because of the pandemic. We missed that team, but it was always fun. They were always competing against each other, but it wasn't like, ha ha, you lost. It was a camaraderie. That's the best thing.
Yeah.
If you're looking for a good sport, we chose not to put the kids in swim here. There's a few glitches along the way that just did not fit with what we needed. But swimming, it's low impact. It's great for joints and muscles. You're going to see a huge difference. You use muscles in the pool that you did not know that you had. I challenge you to try and beat your kids swimming. You will be exhausted.
No, I'm going to lose already. I already know.
Well, especially when they've been training the way they have. So I think that's rule of thumb. Now that the kids are getting older, I like a running sport, but I also like the swim. And the fact that swim is a personal, it's a personal sport, but it's also a team sport, because when you go to an actual swim meet, you actually have to, those points count towards your team points, not just your own personal, which takes a little bit of the stress off, I think, too. I am so excited to watch this documentary. I know all of us are trying during this time to pick up on some new, good, healthy habits, and just letting your kids play. Right now, ours are out of school right now because of Hurricane Sally.
Be safe. You guys got a lot of fire in Alabama. Is everything wet where you're at? We're
completely normal today, but of course with buses, you can't run buses with high winds and flooding waters. So that's why we're home today. But we got lots of rain, high winds, but we're fine here. But yes, lots of hugs going out to our coastal friends.
Right. And our California friends, let's just let 2020 be over. Let's get some of that rainwater on the West Coast.
Yes.
You guys get some sun. We need some balance here too.
Yes. And just help each other out. That's all we can do right now. It's just, and check in with your friends. You can socially distance if you have friends in the neighborhood and just walk and chat. Sometimes that's the best form of exercise right there. Relaxing your mind, getting a good cardio fix in. And that's all we can do till this all kind of comes to a head. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much. And I know I heard your kiddos at home too. Thank you for jumping on and sharing with us today. This is mom life right here. This is making it happen. Goals.
Right.
All right, girl. We will, I'm going to link those items that we talked about below if you're looking for them. And we're going to have to do this again soon. I know we're going to get lots of comments on maybe some more ideas and questions. So we'll plan on picking this one back up.
I may not have answers.
I love it. All right. We'll be talking to you soon.
Sounds good. Ciao.
Bye.